Welcome back to Eject Media. Today we're locking on to the high-octane side of 90s sci-fi, the action-packed movies that slip through the cracks between the big blockbusters. These aren't the polished studio hits. They're gritty, ambitious, and sometimes rough around the edges, but that's what makes them unforgettable. From cybernetic shootouts to dystopian prison breaks, these are 10 underrated sci-fi action films that deserve another look. Adjust your tracking, and let's fire it up. Moon 44, 1990. Before Roland Emmerich became Hollywood's disaster king, he crafted this gritty space western that plays like Top Gun meets Outland on a bad acid trip. Moon 44 throws us into a corporate-controlled future where mining companies wage war over precious resources, using convicted pilots and military rejects to defend their claims against space pirates. The film's rain-drenched moon base feels more like a maximum security prison than a corporate outpost, where rookies pilot high-tech helicopters through artificial storms while hardened convicts navigate them from the safety of underground bunkers. It's a recipe for tension that explodes both in the air and on the ground, as loyalty comes with a price tag and survival means watching your back. Michael Paré leads a cast of weathered faces through this industrial nightmare, where every corridor drips with atmosphere and each flight mission could be your last. The visual effects might show their age, but the model work and practical sets create a lived-in world that feels genuinely dangerous and desperate. For viewers who like their sci-fi served with a side of blue-collar grit, Moon 44 delivers a unique slice of VHS-era space action, where the real enemy isn't the pirates. It's the corporate machine that turns everyone into expendable assets. Eve of Destruction, 1991. Gregory Hines faces off against a military android gone rogue in this sci-fi thriller that plays like The Terminator meets Fatal Attraction. When Eve 8, a feminine combat droid with the memories of her creator Dr. Eve Simmons suffers a malfunction, she transforms from advanced prototype to unstoppable killing machine with some serious emotional baggage. Renee Suitendijk pulls double duty as both the reserve scientist and her unhinged mechanical duplicate, creating a fascinating study in contrasts as Eve 8 acts out her creator's repressed desires with lethal efficiency. The android's programming combines military precision with raw human emotion, making her unpredictable and genuinely threatening as she cuts a path through anyone who reminds her of past traumas. Director Duncan Gibbons crafts a solid chase thriller that uses its sci-fi elements to explore themes of identity and suppressed rage. The action sequences hit hard, with Eve 8 demonstrating why giving military hardware access to human emotions might not be humanity's brightest idea. Hines brings gravity to his role as the terrorist expert tasked with stopping her, creating genuine tension in their game of cat and mouse. For action fans who like their killer robots with psychological complexity, Eve of Destruction delivers a unique spin on artificial intelligence gone wrong. Fortress, 1992. Christopher Lambert trades his Highlander sword for a prison jumpsuit in this dystopian thriller where having a second child is a crime punishable by incarceration in a high-tech nightmare. Director Stuart Gordon takes the prison escape genre and injects it with enough sci-fi horror to make Alcatraz look like summer camp. The fortress itself is a masterwork of automated punishment, complete with intestinal tracking devices that cause explosive indigestion, dream monitoring machines, and the sadistic intestinators, robotic torturers that make sure no good behavior goes unpunished. Kurtwood Smith delivers a deliciously evil performance as prison director Poe, a man who treats prisoner torture like a fine art. What sets this apart from standard prison break fare is its commitment to building a believable future hell. Every system, every rule, and every punishment feels frighteningly plausible. When Lambert's character John Brennick begins plotting his escape, each small victory comes with a brutal price tag, creating genuine tension as the body count rises. For those who appreciate their actions seasoned with dystopian commentary and inventive ultraviolence, Fortress delivers a prison break thriller that explores the depths of human resilience against mechanized oppression. Dollman, 1991. Tim Thomerson brings his trademark deadpan wit to this sci-fi action romp about an intergalactic cop who finds himself shrunk to 13 inches tall while pursuing a criminal to Earth. Director Albert Pyun turns this size-shifting premise into a clever twist on the fish-out-of-water cop story, where our hero's biggest challenge isn't just catching the bad guys, it's surviving in a world where even house cats are kaiju-sized threats. Brick Bardo might be tiny, but his gun still packs its original dimensional punch, leading to some creative action sequences where our miniature Dirty Harry takes down full-size thugs with explosive results. The film plays its absurd concept completely straight, which makes Thomerson's tough guy one-liners and the over-the-top violence even more entertaining. What really sells Dollman is its commitment to the bit. Every scene considers the logistics and challenges of being a tiny cop in a full-sized world, from using dental floss as a rappelling line to turning cigarette butts into cover during shootouts. Jackie Earle Haley chews the scenery as the villain, creating a worthy adversary for our diminutive detective. For fans of B-movie action who appreciate creative problem-solving and tongue-in-cheek humor, Dollman proves that when it comes to sci-fi action heroes, size definitely isn't everything. Screamers, 1995. Deep in the radioactive wastes of Sirius 6B, humanity's latest weapon has turned the hunter into the hunted. Screamers takes Philip K. Dick's paranoid nightmare and cranks it up to 11, unleashing autonomous killing machines that slice through flesh and metal with equal enthusiasm. But these aren't your typical movie robots. They're evolving, learning, and worst of all, beginning to look just like us. Director Christian Duguay transforms this mineral-rich hellscape into a pressure cooker of suspicion, where every friendly face could be hiding serrated steel beneath synthetic skin. Peter Weller leads a band of hardened soldiers who quickly learn that their thermal scanners and automatic weapons mean nothing against an enemy that can wear their dead friends' faces. The real horror of Screamers isn't in its blood-soaked corridors or mechanical menace. It's in watching these battle-hardened veterans crack under the weight of constant paranoia. Every handshake could be your last. Every smile might hide cold circuitry. And in the end, you have to wonder, how human are we when fear turns us into machines ourselves? This is vintage 90s sci-fi horror that burrows under your skin and stays there, asking questions about humanity's future that feel more relevant with each passing year. For anyone who likes their action served with a side of existential dread, Screamers is a razor-sharp slice of VHS-era terror that still cuts deep. Arcade, 1993. Before virtual reality was cool, Albert Pyun dove into the dark side of gaming with this techno-horror tale about an arcade machine that literally won't take no for an answer. When a group of teens test out a new VR game, they discover that losing doesn't just mean game over. It means your consciousness becomes trapped in the machine's digital hell. Megan Ward leads the cast as Alex, a troubled teen who realizes the game isn't just reading players' moves, it's feeding on their fears and traumas. The virtual world combines early 90s CGI with practical effects to create a surreal digital landscape where the rules of reality don't apply and death comes in bits and bytes. What makes Arcade stand out is its understanding of gaming culture and teenage alienation. The film taps into genuine anxieties about technology's growing influence, while delivering creative death scenes that blur the line between virtual and actual reality. Peter Billingsley shows up as a sketchy game company representative, adding to the mounting paranoia about who's really controlling the game. For anyone who enjoys their horror with a side of silicon, Arcade serves up a digital nightmare where the continuous screen might be the last thing you ever see. Mindwarp, 1992. In a post-apocalyptic future where reality is just another program to run, Bruce Campbell and Angus Scrimm face off in a twisted nightmare that feels like the Matrix fell into a meat grinder. When Judy, Marta Martin, gets ejected from her virtual paradise into the real world, she discovers that unplugging comes with a heavy price, namely dealing with cannibalistic mutants in a nuclear wasteland. Director Steve Barnett doesn't just flirt with body horror, he takes it out for dinner and brings it home to meet the parents. The practical effects team unleashes a parade of grotesque mutations and graphic violence that would make David Cronenberg proud. Underground tunnels teem with creatures that were human once, and the line between survival and savagery grows thinner with each passing minute. What elevates this beyond simple shock value is its exploration of escapism and reality. The sterile virtual world versus the brutal real one creates a compelling argument for both salvation and damnation through technology. Campbell brings his signature charm to a surprisingly serious role, while Scrim looms over the proceedings like a radioactive specter. For fans of philosophical horror that isn't afraid to get its hands dirty, Mindwarp offers a blood-soaked meditation on humanity's addiction to artificial paradise. Nemesis, 1992. Welcome to the chrome-plated fury of Nemesis, where Albert Pyun unleashes a cyberpunk fever dream that plays like the Terminator had a violent love child with Hong Kong action cinema. Olivier Gruner stars as Alex Rain, a cyborg cop whose remaining human parts are more liability than asset in a world where flesh and steel have become interchangeable currencies. This isn't your typical future noir. Pyun orchestrates action sequences that defy both gravity and sanity, with cybernetic warriors crashing through walls, leaping impossible distances, and unleashing enough firepower to level a small country. The film's relentless pace barely gives you time to process one explosive set piece before hurling you into another, all while Rain's humanity literally slips away piece by piece. What sets Nemesis apart is its commitment to practical effects and stunt work that makes every bone-crushing impact feel real. The world is a dirty, dangerous fusion of neon-lit alleys and sun-bleached wastelands where tomorrow's technology serves yesterday's violence. And beneath the chaos, there's a genuine attempt to explore what makes us human when our bodies become battlegrounds for technological enhancement. This is peak VHS-era action sci-fi that delivers more ideas, attitude, and ammunition than most mainstream blockbusters would dare. For fans of cyberpunk violence and philosophical body horror, Nemesis is a chrome-knuckled punch to the senses that never lets up. The Rift, 1990. Dive into the depths of aquatic terror with The Rift, also known as Endless Descent, where director Juan Piquer Simon delivers a claustrophobic nightmare that feels like the abyss took a wrong turn into Event Horizon territory. When a high-tech submarine vanishes in mysterious waters, a rescue team descends into an underwater maze of horrors where science has clearly gone wrong. Jack Scalia leads a crew of expendables into the depths, where they discover an abandoned research facility that harbors monstrosities beyond comprehension. The practical effects bring these creatures to life with gloriously grotesque detail. Think twisted mutations and biological aberrations that would make John Carpenter proud. What really sells the horror is the film's suffocating atmosphere. Every creaking corridor and waterlogged chamber builds tension, while the crushing pressure of the deep adds an extra layer of dread to every encounter. The story might borrow from better-known underwater thrillers, but it compensates with sheer, unrestrained monster mayhem. For creature feature enthusiasts and fans of practical effects wizardry, The Rift serves up deep-sea terror with enough twisted imagination to make you think twice about your next diving expedition. Split Second, 1992. In a rain-soaked, flooded London of 2008, Rutger Hauer stalks through the shadows as Detective Harley Stone, a caffeine-addicted cop hunting a killer that might be more than human. Director Tony Maylam crafts a unique hybrid of noir detective story and monster movie that feels like Blade Runner had a violent collision with Predator in a dark alley. Hauer dominates every scene with his trademark intensity, playing Stone as a burnt-out lawman running on coffee, cigarettes, and raw instinct. His pursuit of a supernatural serial killer leads him through a dystopian London where the Thames has reclaimed the streets and darkness hides horrors that science can't explain. When he's paired with a by-the-book partner, Neil Duncan, their odd couple dynamic adds unexpected humor to the growing dread. The film's greatest strength is its atmosphere. Every scene drips with rain and neon, creating a world where the line between modern noir and horror grows increasingly blurry. The creature effects, when finally revealed, deliver satisfying practical gore that stands up against any modern CGI spectacle. For anyone who loves their detective stories with sharp teeth and their monsters with a side of procedural noir, Split Second offers a unique brew of action, horror, and Hauer at his grizzled best. And there you have it, 10 sci-fi films that prove the early 90s were wilder than you remember. Whether they were playing with virtual reality, killer robots, or post-apocalyptic wastelands, each one brought something unique to the genre. If you enjoyed this trip through sci-fi's stranger side, hit like and subscribe for more forgotten gems from our video store vault. Check out our online store at ejectmedia.etsy.com. And remember, always be kind and rewind, because every movie is someone's favorite.